So Frank Sinatra actually said out of I think there was 5 or 10 of them that did the crooning.
Mm-hmm.
They were, Frank Sinatra said, Tony has the best voice out of all of us, and it skyrocketed his career.
Mm-hmm.
And then when they were doing the school in New York, it was an art school. I guess they wanted to name it after Good morning and welcome to Get Real America.
I'm Bill Edwards.
I'm Brittany Brown.
Glad to have you aboard as we crank up another week together here, just about to go down the home stretch for July. Wow.
It's been a hot month, but, we're getting through it, and I'm so grateful for air conditioning.
Yeah, boy, I'm not kidding. It's 24th already, so here we go. Glad to have you aboard here. And 9-4, let's get cranked up here with 9/11 or something like that.
Yeah. So Brian Harmon, congratulations, hometown boy here from Savannah.
Savannah Christian graduate, and
lived at Southbridge.
Yeah.
His parents lived off the golf course. He actually said that neither one of his parents actually played golf.
Mm-hmm.
He just actually fell in love with it. When he originally won one of the tournaments at Southbridge, he wasn't old enough to drive, but you were given a parking spot.
Yeah.
And so the guys there put a bike rack there for him. So I thought that was pretty good.
Yeah, he was on my radio show on several occasions. Well, we actually had a Saturday morning talk show that was run by Coach Carl DeMasi, who was with the coach and also teacher at Islands High School. And Brian was on quite frequently because he was always in the spotlight with the Savannah Christian golf team that was winning state championships and things of that nature, and has now gone on to win a little over $3 million for this. And NBC was making having a little bit of fun with his antics, the way before he would start a little dance or something that he'd have to do before a swing. But, for $3 million, you can cry all the way to the bank.
Yeah. Well, and his size was also like a big issue with the press, saying he's only 5'7". It for some reason, that was a big deal for them. But.
They've got
Anything
to make
they can,
a big
right?
deal about something. Yeah. For sure. Well, best things come in small packages.
Yes. Well, and he had an amazing weekend at the Open. So congratulations to him. And it's always fun to see local Spanians doing big things.
His first major. Yeah,
That's
he won several tournaments before, and he's been on the leaderboard on numerous occasions. And in golf, if you even if you come in like 87th, you still take home a nice paycheck.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Oh yeah.
So I should have been a golfer.
And always loved Lee Trevino, and of course the money wasn't as big then as it is now. But I always remember Lee Trevino said, it's a funny feeling to be standing over a putt, knowing even if you miss it, you're going to make $90,000.
Yeah, I mean, you can't lose, I guess, in golf.
I tell you, we'll walk around the most beautiful real estate on the planet and get paid, handsome salaries, and just about everything else is paid for as well, so you don't have to spend your own money. It sounds like a pretty good life.
Yeah, I like it.
When my folks gave me that set of golf clubs when I was 9 years old, I wish I'd have taken it up. So I'm a
mini golf kind of gal, so golfing not really my thing.
it's a great sport, and what it does for the economy here locally, just from we used to have the Liberty Mutual Legends of Golf here, but for about 11 to 12 years, that was fun. But the Hilton, the Heritage at Hilton Head just does amazing wonders for the economy, and they do such amazing work on the charity side, giving out these really great scholarships to students in all of the high schools in Beaufort County, and it's an amazing sport. So, way to go, Brian! Appreciate it.
Big deal on the golf course. I like it.
For
So,
sure.
another big deal happening in our local area in Effingham County, Rincon, a woman who tried to stop some people from stealing carts full of materials.
This story is so sad, it's disgusting.
I mean, she's an older lady. I didn't really get her age, but she gets punched in the face, Bill, and then she gets fired.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that?
I think, and this is, we won't mention it was Lowe's. But this is disgusting that she's trying to help out. And I am sick and tired of corporate America standing up for the bad guys and saying, "Oh, go ahead and let them steal stuff. We'll just raise the prices on the people who do pay for it." I mean, this is crap. Lowe's, you ought to be ashamed of yourself. I would hope that Home Depot or somebody would reach out and hire this lady, or this is the kind of employee you want to work. The people that we're getting our knees bloody, begging people to come to work these days. You would think that they would make this woman into a heroine.
Yeah, and she had been with Lowe's for 13 years.
Yeah.
And I can't believe she's getting fired. Her name's Donna Hansborough.
This made national news. It's gone, but her video has gone viral about how much she loved this job, and it was taken away from her because she's trying to protect the company and protect her store from these little miscreant thugs.
Yeah.
I know that's a racial term now.
So I don't even know how to say this name. Takia Berry?
They don't. The
Was
names
the
that they come
suspect,
up
yeah.
with now in the black community are unbelievable.
Jamar Lawton and Joseph Berry. So Joseph Berry is the uncle of Takia, who's the one that punched her in the face. So if you know where these people are, please get in contact with the police department at 912-826-5200. But I think it's really a shame. Yeah,
and Rincon's got a darn good police department for a town of its size. They have helped us out to do when I was doing Shop with a Cop on the radio. The Rincon cops were more than generous at coming out and giving their time and helping out and shopping with the kids for Christmas.
I know. Well, our friend Lizzie's with us this morning, and she says, why does anyone pay for anything anymore? It's so true. Like, why don't we just all start taking things and see how that goes for everyone?
Yeah, total it up. Make sure you haven't gone over $1,000, and off you go.
Yeah, well, this was $2,100 worth of stuff. So, but apparently you can just walk out.
Yeah, and you and I pay for it.
Yep.
You and I pay for it because I remember, Brittany, this goes back decades. I can remember years ago when they were worried about for example, if you get like at Levy Jewelers, let's say that they ordered a shipment of 100 Omega watches, and the shipment comes in and 3 are missing somewhere from the shipment. Rather than have to go through all the rigmarole of filing, they just took what the price of 100 was, and divided it up among all the other watches. So your $350 watch might have now been $420 or something along those lines.
Well, I mean, it makes sense, Bill, but that stuff probably happened little to none back in those days, and now we see it all the time.
Oh yeah, was compared to now, chicken feed.
Yeah. So
where you just told everybody, well, as long as you don't have more than $1,000 worth of stuff, you're okay. We're not going to charge you with anything. Yeah,
and we can talk about this a little bit later, but Brantley Gilbert, who's a country music star, he says, I miss the days when he used to get punched in the face for doing things that were wrong. Yeah. I think it taught people boundaries, and now there are no boundaries. I mean, there is no respect for anyone else. It's all about you. It's all about, your truth. And
remember when the 2016 campaign was going along and President Trump, candidate Trump at the time, told people that were misbehaving in his crowd, go ahead and punch him out, and the media just had a cow.
Well, I just don't understand how we've gotten to the point where this lady gets punched in the face 3 times. Mm-hmm. She's fired for trying to stop these people from stealing. And it's okay because...
Lowe's, you should be ashamed of yourself.
Well, and I'm wondering where Lowe's is headquartered, because if they're headquartered in the state of California, it totally makes sense, because this is something that the California legislation is pushing right now to make it illegal to actually go after anyone that's stealing.
Yeah, well, Home Depot is here in Georgia, started by Arthur Blank and one of his other partners, who, by the way, one of his other partners was a speaker at the President's Day luncheon for President's Day supper at the Landings several years ago for the Republican Club on Skidaway Island. And he said that you could not start Home Depot or Lowe's or any others now with the regulations that are in place. And they started in 1979 when they didn't have all these other regulations, that you could not start Home Depot today.
No, and I think that that's the point. We have these big box stores that, how do you compete with them now? Mm-hmm. And I mean, it's really the disintegration of small business. I mean, we see it in every category, Bill. Not only in, Home Depot and Lowe's, but you see it in clothing stores and different things like that you just cannot compete.
Well, I tell you, I think people are wising up, because a smaller store, there's a hardware store right around the corner from me that is busy all the time.
Is it an Ace? Or?
It has exactly what you need most of the time, and you don't have to walk a half an acre in order to get to it.
What's the name of the store?
It's Mayfair Hardware.
Okay, Mayfair.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mayfair Hardware on Montgomery Crossroad.
And it's local.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so
and there's also several Ace Hardware stores, not nearly as big as Home Depots and all. That are doing
and Aces,
very, very
I believe, are franchised out, so they are locally owned and operated, which I think is a big deal.
Yeah, it is. Locally owned and operated is the way to go.
Yes, and Steve Stanton says Lowe's HQ is in North Carolina. What happened to North Carolina? I don't know what's going on there, but they used to be a solid...
solid red.
Yes.
And now...
who knows what happened? And Steve also says, shame on Lowe's. And then Lizzie says, auto insurance created a cottage industry of faking injuries. Mm-hmm. Correct.
Yeah.
Insurance is probably... I think there's probably a lot of fraud that happens in insurance.
And again, another one of these frauds that's happened, this is, 30, 40 years ago, with the illegal aliens would come in and they would cause an accident.
My brother was one of them.
Yeah.
And there wasn't anything he could do.
And collect the insurance.
Yeah. Well, she just was like, she couldn't speak English. She hit my brother, and it was just like, he was kind of on the hook. There was nothing he could do. Mm-hmm. The person wasn't arrested. They were let go. They got a ticket, but that was it.
Yeah.
And it's Maycrest Hardware, it looks like.
Did I say Mayfair?
Yes.
I live in Mayfair. It's Maycrest Hardware, yes.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thanks, Lizzie.
I appreciate that. Yeah. So, but great little hardware store. And they in fact, they just expanded a few years back.
Okay.
So their business is booming.
I love it. Mm-hmm. Well, and I think everyone should start trying to buy local as much as they can. I know it's super tough right now, but I will tell you, even going to the grocery store, I'm like, the food is just not as good. The fruits and veggies just aren't what they used to be. Like when you buy strawberries, they're like done in like a day or two. Mm-hmm. So buy local.
Yeah,
super
for
helpful.
Sure. We have it, and many of the restaurants now like to advertise farm to table.
I love that.
We got these great farms in Ridgeland, just across the river in South Carolina. And
Cahill's is one of my favorite restaurants. Cahill's, so good. If you want a good like country style meal, Cahill's is where it's at. It's just outside of Bluffton.
Check it out, yeah. And of course, our friends at Sweet Potatoes, right here.
Yes,
one of our sponsors. Thank you very much. Yes. Check it out with Steve and his crew.
Yes. Best service you'll get. If you ever go there, I have to say, like the waitresses, when you tell them, hey, I don't want my drink refilled, they're like, I have to keep it filled up. That's like a rule here. So they do a great job over there, and they have top-notch customer service. So
they do indeed.
Love Sweet Potatoes. Love Steve and the crew over there. So
thank you, and thank you very much for believing in us.
Yes.
Meanwhile, coming up next.
Oh, there's lots to talk about, Bill.
We're gonna visit our Congressman Buddy Carter.
Yes, we can. Others? Yes, and we'll also be hearing what Vivek has to say about his connection to the World Economic Forum.
Hey, let's hear it.
Yes.
Coming up.
For nearly 30 years, crime was falling in the United States. No more. Far-left politicians have allowed our streets and parks. The national murder rate is at its highest in 25 years. The result of far-left policies that leave innocent Americans at the mercy of violent criminals. You've seen the images. Subway riders pushed onto tracks by the violently deranged. Stores being looted in broad daylight. Elderly women viciously beaten on the street and outside their homes. Gang shootings turning cities into war zones. Hardened criminals rampaging without fear. No fear of arrest. No fear of prosecution. No fear of jail. No fear of any consequence at all. Instead, you are made to live in fear. Woke progressive prosecutors are releasing dangerous predators before trial. Woke far-left politicians have allowed our streets and parks to be overrun with crime and drugs. Police have been made into the enemy and criminals into a protected class. Violent crime is up 21% in Washington, D.C., 35% in Chicago, 41% in New York City, and murders are up 207% in Portland. Cities in chaos, billions in property damages, lives and families destroyed. Stop the woke war on police. Stop the far-left assault on public safety. Stop the radical left-wing love affair with criminals. Stop the insanity. Citizens for Sanity paid for this ad.
Come join us today at Sweet Potatoes Kitchen for some of that good Southern home cooking, like fried chicken, fish, and mouth-watering banana pudding. Say it's the best in the world, and you won't get an argument from me. Also, those vegetables are fresh and delicious. Voted Southside's best restaurant in Savannah at least 5 times, and large corporate parties are welcome. Tell them Bill Edwards sent you. Drop by and eat today. Everybody loves sweet potatoes.
Serving the Savannah area with the power of the Shield since 1934, with personal insurance, employee benefits, and business insurance. With integrity, security, and trust. For more information, go to thepoweroftheshield.com.
Welcome back to Get Real America.
I'm Bill Edwards.
I'm Brittany Brown.
Another week of fun and frolic going on right here, and trying to battle the heat. Although it's going to be a little cooler this week.
It was lovely Saturday night. It was so nice.
Yeah, it was
so nice, and yesterday morning was great too.
For real, absolutely.
So we do get those little brief moments here in the South in the summer.
And in fact, when I walked outside yesterday, I thought it was September or something like that.
Yeah, it was really nice.
Felt nice and cool as I was heading for church.
Yes.
But meanwhile.
You know, Bill, one of the things we were talking about during break is just, Mayor Johnson, he was gloating about the fact that the crime here is, way down.
The shootings, the murders, the whole bit is just way down. Now, when you start spiking the football, sometimes things can happen.
Well, not only that, Bill, I don't think he was being 100%. I think this is where you cherry pick statistics and made them work for him. But there has been, every week, I see 2 or 3 shootings in Savannah. So I don't know what he's talking about. Maybe people aren't killed, but there are still multiple shootings here a week.
There were 5 people shot at 3 different shootings over the weekend. And Mayor Johnson was near one or in the vicinity.
Oh, geez.
So maybe so much for that. This is other thing we need to get under control. But we're a lot better off than most places, once again, because we actually like our cops. We've given them raises. We have, I think there's a bonus now, $50,000 to start, and there's bonus sign-on as well. Sheriff Johnny Wilshire says you can start at $45,000. He's 200 deputies short.
Yeah, well, he said you can make a lot more. You can make into the six figures because of all the overtime they're offering.
He said all the overtime you want, and he said, and if you are former police or military, you'll get another 10. You get an extra 10%.
Yeah, they have some serious recruitment issues here. Mm-hmm. But if you are living in the north and would like to come south, we welcome you with open arms. Mm-hmm. We have 3 different police departments that will take you. We even have, Pooler, Thunderbolt. We have all these other police departments
there's
as well.
A small, Tybee has a police department. Mm-hmm. I think they're like Garden City. Garden City is one of my favorite, having grown up there, and we lived across the street from the police chief at the time, and knew all the cops. They were terrific. In fact, my mom had taken some course. He was an X-ray tech at Memorial Hospital, and she also did blood work for them. They'd bring in the guys that they were arrested on a DUI.
Oh yeah.
And she'd draw the blood so they could test it and make sure that what they had that if this was really the bad guy.
Yeah, and I think this city council race and mayor race is actually heating up. I saw 4 candidates in the race for mayor, which I thought was interesting. Mm-hmm. I think all of them except for District 2 have like at least 2 or 3 people in the race. So it's probably going to get kind of wild. I think District 6 is up to 4 people that are running. The at-large post, I think there's 4 to 6 people running for each of those. And we'll go through the candidates as we get closer, but kind of a wild race we're going to see here in Savannah.
Yeah, for real. So we'll keep you posted on that. And we've given kudos to Brian Harmon a while ago. Let's also give kudos once again to our Coast Guard that has done the job again. 2 men rescued after a boat capsizes near Jekyll Island. And once again, it was the air station Savannah that came to the rescue. And you ask these Coast Guardsmen about it, and they say, all in a day's work.
Yep. Hey, those are the people you want in charge of the Coast Guard, right?
You're not kidding. Yeah.
And one more thing I want to mention on elections, we do have a special election for Gator River seat, who passed away, unfortunately, a couple months ago. Mm-hmm. He was a great commissioner, and we're looking to replace him. There are 4 people in that race as well. One of them being, someone that is local. They're all local Savannahans, actually. I believe Hodges, who was the vice chair of the Board of Elections, is running, mm-hmm. Which I think is interesting. There's another guy who was a coach, and he was at the Boys and Girls Club. And then there is David Tootle, who is also suing the city of Savannah for removing Calhoun Square.
Yeah.
So
way to go, David.
Yes, should be an interesting race. This is very short. So if you live in District 2, make sure that you vote.
Educate yourself on the candidates.
Yes.
And make an educated vote.
Yes. And that election is on September 19th. So mm-hmm. very quick turnaround. They had to qualify last week. So just wanted to note that because that is a very important election. Mm-hmm. So Buddy Carter, he always releases a briefing every week. And this week is no exception.
Let us keep up with what's going on in Washington. Buddy, what you got?
Welcome to this week's edition of Buddy's Briefings. We're coming to you this week from my desk here in Washington, D.C., in my office here. And I chose this location because I do a lot of serious work here, a lot of serious studying. And I wanted to tell you about a bill I introduced this week that I'm very serious about because it's an issue I'm very serious about. You see, the state of Georgia is a leader in many areas, and I'm very proud of that. In fact, I'm often bragging and touting our success in certain areas. But there's one area that has bothered me for many years, and that's maternal mortality. This is an issue that I've worked on ever since I was a member of the Georgia State Legislature. You see, I can't figure out why Georgia is a leader in maternal mortality in this country. I can't figure out why this country, the most advanced nation in the world, suffers from this as well. As a father, as a grandfather, as a healthcare professional, we need to do better. We need to do better in Congress. That's why I introduced legislation this week called the Healthy Moms and Babies Act. This legislation will help with maternal and baby health, and that's what we need to do. We need to address the issues that are facing mothers, the issues such as access to care, such as making sure they have 21st century technology like telehealth. That's very important. How can we decrease maternal mortality? How can we look at the whole person? How can we consider the social determinants that might be adding to this? All of that's extremely important. You know, we're concerned with life at every stage. And certainly maternal mortality is something we have to address. We have to do better with this, and hopefully this legislation will do just that. That's it for this week. Thanks for joining me.
I do think that that's really interesting, but I do know that I'm trying to think of what it was, but we had Jacqueline Harn on our show with Americans for Prosperity earlier in the year during legislative session, and they were trying to make it so that hospitals were allowed to be built in areas where there was a need, but there are other hospitals that get a say in whether that hospital can be built, which is kind of a conflict of interest.
Yeah, it is.
So it was I think it was like a certificate of need type thing. I'll have to ask her to come on the show and explain kind of what's happening with that. But I wonder if that has something to do with it, where we don't have enough healthcare in rural areas.
Yeah, we've railed against this for years.
Yes.
That if you're in an auto accident somewhere in the middle of West Georgia, someplace where you're a couple of hundred miles, usually from any facility that could really treat you to the point of recovery. It seems like we've just done practically nothing about it, and we only have 4 trauma 1 centers in the state of Georgia. One is here, and that's the only one between Charleston and Jacksonville. The only one between here and Atlanta. There's one in Macon, and then there are 2 in Atlanta, and
so the whole west side of the state.
The whole west side of the state has nothing.
Wow.
And if you're in one of those accidents where to get to the medical treatments that you need in the quote golden hour that the trauma surgeons will tell you about. I remember talking to the late Gage Oshner, who was our chief trauma surgeon some years ago, and he said, people would come in. He said, if I could have gotten to them a half an hour soon, it's their medical knowledge that dictates this. But he said, if I could have gotten to them a half an hour sooner, I could have saved them.
It's wild.
Yeah. So this is, and it also, there's we're fortunate here to have a level 1 trauma center, and thanks to Dr. Carl Boyd, who was the original chief trauma surgeon here, who also established Lifestar, the air ambulance that has saved so many lives, getting to people who we wouldn't be able to get to otherwise, or at least not by going by the roadways. Of getting people to the hospital in that golden hour, and God knows it came in handy when we had the sugar refinery that explosion back around 2006, I believe it was, or 8, and it was just amazing what these people can do and what they have, and the need for good medical care. And hospitals shouldn't have a say as to when another hospital is built. It's a huge issue. Yeah, you should be singing their praises.
Yeah, I think that's. Here's the thing: the right and left, we can agree on certain things. Mm-hmm. That means that you don't care about people. That's what I take that as. Like, you care about money and greed. That's what it comes down to. I do think that when I worked doing licensing for facilities for locum tenens, there was a facility that was being set up in South Carolina. It was called Trident, and we licensed over 8 physicians so that they could open up that trauma unit, because otherwise they wouldn't be able to. So they didn't have enough physicians that lived there, so we rotated out these 8 physicians so that they could open it up. But I do think it's a shame that we have this going on in Georgia. Why it has not been fixed, I am not sure. I do think that it's very interesting that we allow some of these things to be controlled by people that own the market anyways. It doesn't make sense. And all these hospitals have literally been bought out by 2 or 3 huge hospitals like HCA or...
Like Memorial here.
Yep.
I was worried about that when that was... out, because we were doing on the radio, working with the Children's Miracle Network with our children's hospital. We raised over $500,000 over about 4 or 5 years of doing that radiothon. And we can't do it anymore because it said it's a for-profit hospital, so we can't do radiothons or telethons to get donations and extra money for the children's hospital. And fortunately, we have a freestanding one now, but that all happened before HCA took over. And one of the things that we said we wanted them to guarantee was that they would keep the level 1 trauma center open. They said, well, we guarantee we'll do that for 10 years.
Wow.
Well, send up a flare. What happens after 10 years? trauma centers are extremely expensive to operate because they pun intended, they bleed red ink. Because you've got a complete staff ready to go 24/7, 365, and sometimes they're just sitting around, twiddling their thumbs, waiting on something to happen. But when something happens, and I was so proud of them the night of that of the sugar refinery explosion, as bad as that was, but how well coordinated this area is. Brittany, it was amazing. I was standing outside the emergency room doing live reports. And ambulances were coming in, one right behind the other. They were from Effingham County, Bryan County, Chatham County, Liberty County, that all came together.
All hands on deck.
All hands on deck. So well coordinated. You saw doctors running in from banquets they were in. I saw some doctors running in tuxedos that they've been at some dinner, and were coming in. They had the patients lined up down the hall on the gurneys. Helicopters were riding to the most severe people were being flown to Augusta, the burn center. It was an amazing. It was a well-oiled machine, and the guy in charge of the emergency room, one of my favorite people, comes out about every half hour or so to update the media on what's going on. It was amazing, and unfortunately, most communities don't have anything like that. But what we really should do, and what I think this is up to the communities too, and we've seen this in some cases, where they will encourage kids to go into medicine. So we'll pay for your medical school, we'll pay for your college and your medical school if you'll come back here for at least 5 years after you graduate and open a practice. You don't have to stay here, but give us 5 years. Just like when I was signed up to advanced ROTC in the Army. I had to stay. You got to go 3 years. You can re-up after that, but to pay back all the money that we're investing in you for all the training that you need, you got to stay in 3 years.
Yeah, and I think that we are getting a medical school here next year at Armstrong, which is exciting.
Yeah.
And Lizzie Warren said we live on the islands and felt the sugar refinery explosion. Really scary.
Yeah,
really scary stuff.
Yeah, it was a frightening time. And it was also a time when I talked to some of the local. I was not at some of the press conferences that they were having all the time, but I remember one of the anchors at WSAV was telling me how disgusted he was with the national people that were coming in covering this, insisting on seeing the photos of these people and asking how badly burned they were and all these details. It's like,
if it bleeds, it leads.
What do we need? And what difference does that make? What is that? How does that enhance your broadcast?
I don't know, Bill.
Like the National Enquirer.
Yeah, exactly. Well, we got to take a break, but when we get back, we'll be going to that Vivek interview.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's an accident that I ended up writing music for a living, because I think I lived in a house where I saw how deeply it affected everyone in the house. And just how much everyone defined themselves by the music they listened to.
Music as a framework, I think, gave my parents my identity from a young age. You can like any music that you want if it makes you feel happy. And now when I hear certain songs, I think of them, and I think of them in their happiest state, and it makes me happy.
If they seem like they're having trouble talking about something, I try to tell them about a time when I felt something similar.
Whatever the issue was, we would tell them the pros and cons and how important it was, and that they had come to us because we could always help them. I think the real important point, we always told them, no matter what you do, no matter what happens, we will help you through it no matter what it is.
When I grow up, I want to work for a woke company, like super woke.
When I grow up,
I want to be hired based on what I look like,
rather than my skills.
I want to be judged
by my political beliefs.
I want to get promoted
based on my chromosomes. When I grow up, I want to be offended
by my coworkers
and walk around the office
on eggshells
and have my words policed
by HR. Words like
grandfather,
peanut gallery.
Long time no see.
No can do.
When I grow up,
I want to be obsessed with emotional safety and do workplace sensitivity training all day long. When I grow up, I want to climb the corporate ladder.
just by following the crowd.
I want to be a conformist. I want to weaponize my pronouns. What are pronouns?
It's time to grow up and get back to work. Introducing the #1 woke-free job board in America, redballoon.work.
Come join us today at Sweet Potatoes Kitchen for some of that good Southern home cooking, like fried chicken, fish, and mouth-watering banana pudding. Say it's the best in the world, and you won't get an argument from me. Also, those vegetables are fresh and delicious. Voted Southside's best restaurant in Savannah at least 5 times, and large corporate parties are welcome. Tell them Bill Edwards sent you. Drop by and eat today. Everybody loves sweet potatoes.
Serving the Savannah area with the power of the Shield since 1934, with personal insurance, employee benefits, and business insurance, with integrity, security, and trust. For more information, go to thepoweroftheshield.com.
Welcome back to Get Real America.
I'm Bill Edwards.
I'm Brittany Brown.
We're all nice and green.
Yes,
there we are.
we were.
There's a nice picture of Savannah.
Yeah. So Vivek, I really like him. I think his messaging is perhaps the best we're seeing on the Republican side. However, I've had some questions about Vivek just because he has had some linkage towards Alec. I think his name is Alex Soros, which is the brother of the other Soros that we love so much. Mm-hmm. And also, he was listed on the World Economic Forum's website. There's some other things that I have questions on, but I just thought it was interesting. Jack Posobiec had him on his show and asked him that question.
Are you a World Economic Forum plant? Is George Soros running your campaign? Where are the rat lines? Where are the strings?
So I will say that I'm running for U.S. president. People should ask the hard questions. I'm going to be transparent at every step. World Economic Forum, what is my relationship with them? Answer, none. Absolutely none, other than being probably their top critic in the United States. Read the 2 books I've written. Look at the company Strive that I started to compete against their ESG agenda. Why are people asking the question, though, Jack? It's because they bizarrely listed me on their list of young global leaders, this prestigious award they give to young billionaires and otherwise. I rejected the award. I repeatedly rejected it. And then a few months later, my name still pops up on their website. Turns out they've done the same thing to Elon Musk, to Glenn Beck, to others. But anyway, in my case, I don't believe in standing by. I respectfully asked them to take it down. When they did not comply, I sued them. I believe in taking action. And I think I'm the only person who has actually sued the World Economic Forum. And I expect, just on the hard facts of it, we're going to be successful and demand that they make a hard commitment that they never do this to somebody else again. That's the World Economic Forum. You want me to hit Soros as well?
Absolutely, please.
Yeah. So another FAQ that has popped up, you brought it up as well, is what is my relationship with George Soros? Very clear answer, none. 0 direct or indirect relationship, other than being one of the bigger critics in this country of the disastrous policies that he's been funding over the last decade, especially after 2016. Why are people asking the question? There was a separate scholarship that I won at the age of 24, 25, when I was going to law school in my mid-20s, in my early 20s, when I didn't have the money, and it was a merit scholarship that hundreds of kids win, that was partially funded, not by George Soros, but by Paul Soros, a relative, his brother, who, by the way, is now long dead, who, by the way, this is long before George Soros completely went off the deep end and really went toxic in the last decade. And to be perfectly honest with you, I would have had to be a fool to turn down that scholarship at the age of 24. anyone that foolish, I think, should step nowhere near the White House doing trade deals on behalf of this country either. But I believe in standing for the truth. People are asking the questions. I believe in being transparent. And so that's the long and the short of that one.
So I do like that he addresses things head on. I watched a full-length interview with him on the Tim Pool podcast, which is one of my favorites. So if you haven't listened to it, it's a long-form conversation with people, and I think you get more out of it. But he, there, like I said, I still have questions about Vivek, but he is the number 3 in the race right now. Started at 0%, and I think he's up to 10 or 11% right now.
Yeah, pretty good.
So he is.
And, Tim Scott's also surging a little bit.
Yes, and I think DeSantis is still dropping in the polls. He was in Utah over the weekend and didn't do too well in Utah.
His people have just been awful.
Yes, well, I also think that I think there's a lot of pressure, and I think that there may be some. I don't know. I think when you start to see someone transition from, who they were as a governor to who they're going to be as a president, I think that you see people start to maybe make some mistakes and maybe say things that they probably shouldn't be saying and things like that. So his team has been terrible. His comms department needs to be fired. They've made a lot of missteps, and they haven't had great messaging. I do think that he was late to the game coming out and defending Donald Trump. He should have, when the whole Mar-a-Lago thing happened, he should have told the federal government, I'm the governor of Florida. You are not going to do this to one of my citizens. He never did that.
Yeah. And Vivek has been one of the ones who has actually
been adamant.
The only one of the Republican candidates who have spoken out against this. And if they can do that, as the old saying goes, if they can do that to the President of the United States, they can do it to anybody.
Yep, and he has been, I think that that's the thing that I do like about Vivek, is he's very bold in everything that he's saying, and it's just, he says it with conviction, and I think he means it. Another thing he said over the weekend, he wants to abolish the FDA, which I am all for. I think that the FDA has done more damage to the American people than a lot of the other departments, and can't wait to see it be disassembled.
Oh, there's a lot of those agencies. The Department of Energy, they're the ones right now that are telling you that you should get rid of your gas stove, you should get rid of your gas heater, you should get rid of your washing machine should use less water, which means you have to do twice as much to get the job done, which means you're actually going to use more water. It's like the
aren't they banning water heaters or something now?
Yeah, they're gas water heaters, and they come up with this stupid stuff like the electric water heater is much more efficient and less expensive. No, it's not. It's exact opposite. You put a gas heater and if we have one of these competing shows or something where they show you a consumer advocate type things, they have a gas heater and an electric water heater and put cold water in both of them and then start them up on their regular process. The gas heater within 5 or 10 minutes is going to be ready to go, and the electric water heater might be a half an hour to an hour or more before it's ready to go.
Well, I have a real life example for you. I have a gas lawnmower, was having some issues with it, so a friend let me borrow their electric lawnmower. I will tell you what, I will take the gas like 5 times over the electric because there's no power, you can't go very fast, and it doesn't self-propel itself. Like I mean, the gas one, so easy to use, and I can get my lawn done in half the time. So I will tell you, I'm all about gas.
Yeah, well, and they're doing that, of course, with the electric cars and everything. Ford right now, they're getting their knees bloody, begging for forgiveness for using a Chinese company to get their batteries. They've lowered the price on the electric F-150, which almost sounds like a contradiction in terms, for about 17 or 18%, because they're not selling, and they're having difficulty getting batteries and things of that nature. And then we're building one of those plants here from Hyundai, and right next door to us here.
Yeah, it's a very, I will say they've decimated that area, so that's fun. Lizzie says they're coming after generators too. Enjoy the next hurricane. Yeah. You're absolutely right. I don't think that people realize all of the things that we get from having gas. I mean, we need, I do not want an electric car.
How about the closure? Well, most people would be naked.
Yep.
If it weren't for petroleum products. The pens that we write with, petroleum products. I remember it was so funny that the CEO of Patagonia, one of the oil companies up in, I think it was Illinois or Ohio, wanted to get logo shirts and ordered them from Patagonia. And the CEO said, "Oh, certainly not. We're not going to make shirts for an oil company." And this guy, and they put out an ad that was hysterical, that showed the Patagonia catalog. 98% of the Patagonia products were made from petroleum products.
That's always fun to see. Mary McCann Hybrider's with us this morning. It isn't about being green. It's all about the distractions. You're not wrong, Mary.
Watch
you
the
are
shiny
not wrong.
thing over here. Forget the fact that our president is, being controlled by China and Russia and all the real Russian hoax.
Well, and the funny thing about that is that Biden's saying we need to investigate Elon Musk because of his relationships with China. I'm like, that's rich.
Yeah.
That's rich.
The old pot calling the kettle black, huh?
Yes. Can't stand Joe Biden. But anyways, when we get back, we're going to be seeing some children that are true patriots. I'm really excited about these guys.
Having a big time.
Who is a kid? Well, that's a kid. And another. Look, a gaggle of them. Or is it a herd? Litter? Pride. But what about her? Tell her she's not a kid. Or him. So how do we tell who is a kid? Height? Age, maybe. But some of us have to grow up faster than others. A kid. A kid. A kid wants to make the world better. And one day, he just might. Is a kid fearless? Vulnerable? Strong? Nervous? Yes. 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 Kiwanis is 600,000 kids at heart doing all the little and big things it takes to help children around the world. Because kids need Kiwanis. All of them.
Savannah, I'm coming home. Savannah, we'll never be alone. Savannah, the beauty of the world. Savannah, let's all take a ride. Savannah, I'm coming home. Savannah.
When you're looking to buy a business or sell a business, the experts at Best Business Brokers have you covered. Whether you're ready to cash in on your years of hard work or you're taking that first step in buying a business of your own, they're here to guide you through the process and make sure you get the best outcome possible. By having Best Business Brokers assist you when you buy a business or sell a business, they handle the legwork of the intricate process. This ensures a smooth transition of ownership, allowing you to get to work immediately or receive payment for your business as soon as possible. With base operations in Savannah and Charleston, they service all of Georgia and South Carolina. If you're considering starting a business here, the mild winters and 5-tiered economic areas make these the perfect places to do so. If you're ready to buy a business or sell a business, then you're ready to contact Best Business Brokers. Visit their website at b3brokers.com or call at 912-349-0940.
Serving the Savannah area with the power of the Shield since 1934, with personal insurance, employee benefits, and business insurance, with integrity, security, and trust. For more information, go to thepoweroftheshield.com.
Come join us today at Sweet Potatoes Kitchen for some of that good Southern home cooking, like fried chicken, fish, and mouth-watering banana pudding. Say it's the best in the world, and you won't get an argument from me. Also, those vegetables are fresh and delicious. Voted Southside's best restaurant in Savannah at least 5 times, and large corporate parties are welcome. Tell them Bill Edwards sent you. Drop by and eat today. Everybody loves sweet potatoes.
Welcome back to Get Real America.
I'm Bill Edwards.
I'm Brittany Brown.
Going down the home stretch here on this Monday morn.
Yes, and really quick, Heather Bilton is with us this morning, and she said Super Generator Center of Savannah. So if you need a generator, go check them out.
Yes, sir. I have one from them. We got the Generac that powers the whole house, and boy, that thing's worth its weight in gold. It's just amazing. Especially about 3 or 4 years ago, I was preparing a birthday dinner around 4:00 in the afternoon, and all the power went out in July, and within 20 seconds, the generator is up. Everything's back on, air conditioning working, stoves working, the oven's working. We just had a great time. Lights are all on. Perfect.
Generator is a necessity for sure.
In this area, it certainly is.
Yes.
Yeah.
So make sure you check out Super Generator Center of Savannah.
But even if you can't afford one of those, you can get the smaller ones, of course, the portable ones. But boy, I'll tell you, to having one for the whole house is just a boat from heaven.
Yes, and Steve Stanton said, good people, Generac.
Mm-hmm. They are.
So we always like to leave the last segment for some good news, since there is so much bad news. Well, Jason Aldean last week, he had, everyone's calling him, the songwriter that developed the lynching song. I don't know if you heard that, but he was...
The lynching song.
Yeah.
Yeah, remember, these people have the rules for radicals by Saul Alinsky memorized. Blame the other side for what you're doing.
Well, and shame on CMT. I think that's the big thing is it's such a betrayal from CMT to do this to someone like Jason Aldean, who has probably made them a lot of money. Mm-hmm. I mean, he's been around since the early 2000s, and he has hit after hit after hit. So shame on CMT for doing this. Also, Amazon, if you have a child filter on saying like you don't want your kids to see, parental advisory type stuff,
right?
His song is in there, so you can't play it unless you take the protections off.
Mm-hmm.
But it will let you play DMX, some of the DMX songs, which are talks about blood on his hands and all the stuff.
I haven't kept up with DMX's career.
Well, DMX is, he actually passed away during 2020, 2021. So anyways, but definitely can't compare the two. There's a big difference between the two.
Yeah, exactly. But the one of the other big country stars has pulled, he had a $35 million project with CMT. He's pulled the plug on it.
I've heard conflicting reports on that. Blake Shelton, I think, is who you're talking about.
Yeah.
I've heard conflicting reports. I've heard it's true, and I've heard it's not true. So I'm not really sure who to believe.
So it's 50-50.
Yes. So we'll get back to you on that.
He pulled half of it.
Yeah. We'll get back to you on that because I also heard that Luke Bryan pulled his music videos, but that also wasn't true. So a lot of misinformation going on. But I'm interested to see how this goes for CMT because I don't think it will go well. I think a lot of country music fans will stick by Jason Aldean's side because he has been around forever and he has always stood up for the American people.
And when he at his concert the other night, he said, he believed in free speech and people everybody can have their own opinion and who cares?
Well, before we get to that, I wanted to show you some patriotic kids that think that, Jason Aldean's song was pretty good.
Yeah.
I love it. I love when parents...
We've got to get us a Captain America microphone. That's all there is to it. Yeah, we got to have one of those. But yeah, that is really terrific. And to your parents and everybody else shooting video, horizontal, please.
Oh, but that's not how social media works, Bill. I'm sorry.
You can't post what social media does.
Well, you can't post it on social media if it's not horizontal.
Oh, geez.
I know. It's a terrible time we live in, but it's the rules. It's the rules. Steve Stanton said it's CMT's Bud Light moment. I sure hope so. I'm excited to see kind of how this ends up for them. But I do love parents that are, encouraging their kids to, listen to his music. And also they're all dressed patriotically. Thought it was super cute. Mm-hmm. So, but Jason Aldean, he had his concert over the weekend and he had a lot to say about what they had to say about him.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody having fun so far tonight? Well, I gotta tell you guys, man, it's been a long ass week. It's been a long week, and I've seen a lot of stuff. I've seen a lot of stuff suggesting I'm this, suggesting I'm that. Hey, here's the thing. Here's one thing I feel. I feel like everybody's entitled to their opinion. You can think something all you want to. It doesn't mean it's true, right? So, what I am is a proud American. I'm proud to be from here. I love our country. I want to see it restored to what it once was before all this bullshit started happening to us. I love my country, I love my family, and I will do anything to protect that. I can tell you that right now. Here's what I want to say. A lot of things out there, and one thing I love, you guys know how it is this day and age, cancel culture is a thing. That's something that, if people don't like what you say, they try and make sure that they can cancel you, which means try and ruin your life, ruin everything. One thing I saw this week was a bunch of country music fans that could see through a lot of the bullshit, all right?
I think that shows you that there are a lot of patriotic Americans still out there.
We outnumber them. The media doesn't want you to know that because the coverage that they give you, because they don't cover that except in maybe little snippets. And so that you get the impression that, and that's what happened, when Rush Limbaugh first came on, when people finally said, wait a minute, that's what I've been, Walter Cronkite, most trusted man in America. And all the others that were telling you that's the way it is. All of a sudden heard, no, that's the way it isn't. And suddenly people started to wake up and realize, that they were being controlled by the media. And that's why the media had their shorts in a wad over the fact that Rush was doing so well and climbing. I think he started with something originally like 65 stations and wound up with almost over 700 by the time he passed away. There was a reason for that. It's amazing. He saved AM radio in the process.
Yeah, and Steve Statton Sr. says, my hat is off to Aldine. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And his wife is also a firebrand, Brittany Aldine. She has stood up for a lot of the things she believes in, and they have tried to cancel her, but she is uncancelable. Yes. Yeah. Sorry.
Easy for you to say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Lizzie Warren says, block CMT on Comcast. Absolutely. I don't think that we should be giving our money to... The thing is, Bill, what has happened? They have taken over every single institution, these leftists, and country music was the last place I thought that they would be able to take over a board and, be allowed to do some of this stuff. And it's really a shame, but I also think that either we take back the institutions or we build our own.
Yeah, they really have the Midas touch because everything they put their hands on turns into a muffler. But as we wrap it up today, Barbenheimer was gold at the box office this weekend. Unfortunately, the movie Barbie was number one, but the movie Oppenheimer, about the guy who invented the atomic bomb, father of the bomb, did very, very well, and I think we'll do better as time goes along. But at least it shows to Hollywood, of the Oppenheimer side at least, that people do want to see a good movie. They don't care about all these special effects and everything else in car chases. They want to see a good movie with a good story.
Well, and I also think that Barbie's marketing they spent a ton of marketing money on this movie. And the one thing that I will say, I'm hoping to find someone to get on the show with us to talk about what was in the Barbie movie. I've seen some reviews, but basically it's not empowering to women at all. It's not the Barbie that, story that we were told as children. Mm-hmm. They really... Basically, one of the lines in the movie is, men hate women and women hate men. That's just how it is. That's inspiring, isn't it?
Yeah, all right.
very inspiring, I think.
Not exactly men are from Venus, women are from Venus and men are from Mars or whatever type thing.
But it's women that grew up with Barbie taking their children to this, and it really was not made for children.
What a surprise.
Yes, I'm trying to get someone on the show so we can dive into what they thought of the movie.
We can set you up on a Zoom call.
Yes, so if you saw the movie, let us know.
Yeah, we'd like to talk to you.
Yes, well, thanks so much for tuning in. That's going to do it for us on a Monday, but we hope you guys have a good day. Remember to download the Local Spin app. Check us out on YouTube, Spotify, Rumble, and Apple.
Stay real, and remember, you can't spell Democrat without RAT.